I am your host, name bin Mohammed Rafi, and here is your YouTube channel Zamir Universal. Today I am going to tell you about the madness and the suicide, the mentally deranged. You elected a morally corrupt, at least 16 women went to the court about him, assaulting them, someone in the plane, some in the hotel, some the prawn, and even this guy is so immoral and so dirty, so filthy, that his name appeared in that list where Bill Gates said that if my name appears, I will leave, America. I will not live here, because that's where they were molesting the children and raping them. And it was in the list of that dirty man who not actually committed suicide, was killed and was funded in an island by the Jews. So how dirty, how filthy the Jews are. And his daughter, he said she is so busty, she is so beautiful, and her behind is so good that he would date her if she was not his daughter. So you could imagine even a pig will spare his daughter, or will not go there. So such a dirty man you have, and see what he is in. He thinks it belongs to his father. This dirty, filthy man, hundreds and thousands of years old, the Holy Land, where he's been stepped on that Holy Land, where his illegitimate children, started by Harry Truman, the dirtiest, the filthiest, the weakest president. The people spit on his grave, and his body must be turning in the grave, who, chose this small piece of Holy Land for these, beasts. I would not like to call them the animal or the pig, because I think they are so dirty, so filthy, so cruel. Baby killer, they are war criminals, they want genocide, now want ethnic cleansing. And above all that, now, this dirty, filthy man is now starting a clash of civilizations. And I just, for his memory, I'm just going to show him parts of the documentary that for hundreds and hundreds of years, repeatedly, they've been slapped, kicked back on the ass. And how many times the Muslims have beaten the hell out of them, and that's what they are going to make a minced meat out of this bloody man. And so I think Netanyahu is never ever going to face a natural death. He is going to die a dog's death, because that's what he's been dreaming. And now he got a stepfather who is now going to sport, and he's sending his boots to go and capture. It makes me laugh that this man is crazy. And 52 states, you Americans, shameless Americans, you have no shame. You refused. At least people had guts to refuse to go to Vietnam and fight that aimless war. And you want to send your sons and daughters to fight for that place where you have been kicked, defeated, and all the Christians of the whole world were defeated times and times again. And then finally Saladin took it over. And now I'm just repeating, I'm telling you the exact history, what it is. And since then, it has been with the Muslims, and they signed this treaty that they will allow you, the Christians. The Christians fought against them at least 500-600 years, and Muslims allowed them to take and build a church and worship there.
The largest effect, though, is on American democracy. The scholar Francis Fukuyama has noted that the history of modern government has been a steady movement away from patrimonial rule, the rule of a single strongman to benefit his family and friends, towards rule by institutions and rules and norms. He notes that in the United States now, we are seeing the return to patrimonial rule, as citizens freely debating laws are replaced by supplicants.
I regard Netanyahu as having been our greatest disastrous president of the 21st century, because he ran American foreign policy for 20 years and he cost us trillions of dollars. And where is the Middle East today? War in Syria, war in Lebanon, war in Palestine, unrest in Iraq, the war in Yemen, chaos in Sudan, chaos in Somalia, chaos in Libya. Great job, Bibi. You did it.
2 minutes has a Donald Trump look-alike declaring victory.
I did the impossible. I made peace with Canada and ended the unjust trade war that I started. I'm signing this. This executive order, I did not lose, but I totally won the trade war order.
Of course, from J.D. Vance to Mike Johnson, Republicans fell over themselves to praise the stunning negotiating powers of President Trump. The Trump effect is in full force, Johnson posted. At this rate of achievement, wrote Elon Musk, not only should President Donald Trump be on Mount Rushmore, I want to personally work the chisel. With the abrupt dismantling of USAID, Trump supporters scrambled to adjust. Secretary of State Marco Rubio quickly blasted the agency, saying it was out of control and unresponsive. This was the same agency that he had repeatedly posted in favor of over the years, written about in his book with pride and admiration, and recently recommended funding increases to President Biden. The pattern is now familiar and was followed after Trump's Gaza announcement. Those who had long supported Trump's determination to end America's military interventions cheered when he announced he would take over Gaza, send in troops if necessary, displace 2 million Palestinians to neighboring countries, and stay in Gaza for long-term ownership. Kayleigh McEnany responded with this on Fox News.
President Trump is playing four-dimensional chess. You all are playing checkers.
Later that day, Trump officials began walking back key aspects of the president's plan, as did Trump himself. If you don't understand all this, you haven't played four-dimensional chess. Donald Trump's White House is now a court, and his courtiers scurry around, aware that the mercurial monarch might change his mind at any time. TikTok is terrible can suddenly become TikTok is great, and they need to pivot quickly. It reminds one of the court of Henry VIII, the monarch who went from being the greatest defender of the Catholic Church to a vicious opponent because he wanted a divorce that the Pope would not sanction. One man who refused to play the game, Sir Thomas More, had his head chopped off. The reason Trump forces aides and supporters to say things that they know are false is to enforce a regime.
Religious conflicts that arose between Christians and Muslims, with their primary objective being the establishment of authority over holy sites revered by both factions. Spanning from 1096 to 1291, these undertakings comprised 8 significant crusade campaigns, differing in scale, potency, and level of triumph. These expensive, turbulent, and frequently merciless clashes augmented the influence of European Christians, elevating them as key contenders in the struggle for territorial dominance in the Middle East. What were the Crusades? By the late 11th century, Western Europe had emerged as a significant power, but still lagged behind the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Empire in the Mediterranean region. The Byzantine Empire had suffered territorial losses to the Seljuk Turks, leading to instability and civil war. In 1081, Alexius Comnenus became the Byzantine emperor and sought to consolidate control. In 1095, Emperor Alexius I sent messengers to Pope Urban II, requesting assistance from the West to counter the Turkish threat. Despite historical tensions between Eastern and Western Christians, the timing of Alexius's appeal coincided with improving relations between the two factions. When were the Crusades? In November 1095, Pope Urban II convened the Council of Clermont in southern France, where he urged Western Christians to take up arms and assist the Byzantines in reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim rule. This call to action marked the inception of the Crusades. Pope Urban's appeal received an overwhelming response from both the nobility and common people. Those who participated in the armed pilgrimage adorned a cross as a symbol of their dedication to the Church. The Crusades paved the way for the formation of prominent religious military orders, including the Knights Templar, the Teutonic Knights, and the Hospitallers. These organizations played a crucial role in defending the Holy Land and safeguarding Christian pilgrims on their journeys to and from the region. The First Crusade, 1096 to 1099. 4 armies of crusaders led by Raymond of St. Giles, Godfrey of Bouillon, Hugh of Vermandois, and Bohemond of Taranto departed for Byzantium in August 1096. The People's Crusade, under Peter the Hermit, crossed the Bosphorus Strait early but suffered a defeat. Count Emicho's group carried out anti-Semitic massacres, causing a crisis. Upon reaching Constantinople, all leaders except Bohemond resisted Emperor Alexius' oath. In May 1097, the Crusaders attacked and captured Nicaea in Anatolia. The fall of Jerusalem. Despite tensions between the Crusaders and Byzantine leaders, the combined force persevered and advanced through Anatolia, culminating in the capture of Antioch in June 1098. Following internal conflicts for control of Antioch, the Crusaders set their sights on Jerusalem, which was under the occupation of the Egyptian Fatimids, adversaries of the Sunni Seljuks due to their Shiite Muslim affiliation. Arriving outside the walls of Jerusalem in June 1099, the Christian forces compelled the besieged city's governor to surrender by mid-July. Unfortunately, despite Tancred's assurance of protection, the Crusaders perpetrated a massacre upon their triumphant entry into Jerusalem, indiscriminately killing hundreds of men, women, and children. The Second Crusade.
I'm here because I care. I'm here because children everywhere are suffering, and because 40,000 people die each day from hunger. I'm here because those people are mostly children.
My name is Rachel Corey. I'm from the United States. I'm from Olympia, Washington.
Rachel Corey became internationally famous when she was crushed to death by a bulldozer in Gaza last year.
We are international human rights observers from the United Kingdom, from England, from Scotland, from Italy, and from the United States of America. I've been here for about a month and a half now, and this is definitely the most difficult situation that I've ever seen. In the time that I've been here, children have been shot and killed. On the 30th of January, the Israeli military bulldozed the two largest water wells, destroying over half of Rafah's water supply. Every few days, if not every day, houses are demolished here.
We are unarmed, international human rights observers.
When the bulldozer crushed her, Rachel became the first American martyr to die in Palestine, at the age of 23.
1147 to 1149. After the successful First Crusade, many Crusaders returned home, while those who stayed established 4 Crusader states in Jerusalem, Edessa, Antioch, and Tripoli. The Crusader states maintained control with fortified castles until around 1130, when Muslim forces began to gain ground in their own holy war, known as jihad, against the Franks or Christians. In 1144, Edessa fell to the Seljuk general Zangi, leading to the loss of the northernmost Crusader state and prompting a call for the Second Crusade. Led by King Louis VII of France and King Conrad III of Germany, the Second Crusade began in 1147 but suffered a major defeat at Dorylaeum. Despite assembling a large army, the Crusaders were defeated in their attack on Damascus by combined Muslim forces led by Nur al-Din, marking the end of the Second Crusade. Damascus was subsequently added to Nur al-Din's expanding empire in 1154. The Third Crusade, 1187 to 1192. After Saladin's forces captured Cairo in 1169, the Crusaders of Jerusalem were forced to retreat from Egypt. Saladin assumed control and launched an expansive campaign, intensifying after the death of Nur al-Din in 1174. In 1187, Saladin initiated a major offensive against the Crusader kingdom of Jerusalem. The Christian army suffered a devastating defeat at the Battle of Hattin, resulting in the loss of the important city and significant territories. These defeats led to the Third Crusade, led by Emperor Frederick Barbarossa, King Philip II of France, and King Richard I of England, Richard the Lionheart. Richard's forces achieved victory over Saladin at the Battle of Arsuf in September 1191, the sole significant battle of the campaign. Richard recaptured Jaffa and approached Jerusalem, but opted not to besiege the city. In September 1192, Richard and Saladin signed a peace treaty, re-establishing the Kingdom of Jerusalem without Jerusalem itself, concluding the Third Crusade. The Fourth Final Crusades, 1208 to 1271. In the 13th century, various crusades emerged with the goal of combating groups perceived as enemies of the Christian faith rather than solely focusing on Muslim forces in the Holy Land. The Albigensian Crusade, 1208 to 1229, aimed to eradicate the heretical Cathari or Albigensian sect in France, while the Baltic Crusades, 1211 to 1225, sought to subdue pagan communities in Transylvania. The Children's Crusade, 1212, involved a large number of young children pledging to march to Jerusalem. However, it is widely debated among historians whether it was a genuine crusade, and the group never reached the Holy Land. The Fifth Crusade, 1217 to 1221, initiated by Pope Innocent III, targeted Egypt but ended in surrender to Muslim defenders under al-Malik al-Kamil, Saladin's nephew. In the Sixth Crusade, 1228 to 1229, Emperor Frederick II negotiated the peaceful transfer of Jerusalem to Crusader control with al-Kamil. However, Muslims easily regained Jerusalem after the peace treaty expired. Louis IX of France organized the Seventh Crusade, 1248 to 1254, against Egypt, but it proved to be a failure for him.
So Jordan's King Abdullah has just proven that he is nothing more than a loyal slave of the US. This man had the opportunity to finally redeem himself from years of disrepute, but he failed once again, miserably. Abdullah arrived in the US to meet Trump after his country formally rejected Trump's ethnic cleansing plan involving 2 million Palestinians in Gaza. Many felt that he would repeat his country's stance both to Trump and before the media, despite his country's dependence on the US charity. But we forgot that beggars, just because they speak in posh Western accent and dress in Western attire, have no self-esteem. They will do what their masters will ask them to do. Just watch this clip. When a reporter pointedly asked this disgraceful ruler of Jordan if he was okay with the idea of the US owning the Gaza Strip, there's nothing for me to explain here, seriously. This Abdullah chap just exposed himself before the entire world about the kind of coward he is. I wonder how long Jordanians will tolerate him further, even though he remains very unpopular amongst them.
Do you want to see the U.S. own the Gaza Strip?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, the president is looking at Egypt coming to present their plan. As I said, we will be in Saudi Arabia to discuss how we can work with the president and with the United States. So I think let's wait until the Egyptians can come and present to the president and not get ahead of ourselves.
And is there a part
नाज़रीन, इंसानियत को भूल जाइए, अमन को भूल जाइए। सीज फायर जो मुआहदा है प्रैक्टिकली तोड़ दिया गया है। अमलन मुआहदा जो है वो इस वक्त खत्म हो चुका है। गजा और वेस्ट बैंक दोनों लेने का ऐलान कर दिया गया है। ना सिर्फ गजा, पहले सिर्फ गजा की बात हो रही थी, अब गजा नहीं, गजा और वेस्ट बैंक दोनों लेने का ऐलान जो है वो ट्रंप की जानिब से कर दिया गया है। किंग जॉर्डन और ट्रंप की जो मुलाकात है उसका इंतजार किया जा रहा था कि उस मुलाकात वो एक फाइनल मुलाकात थी, क्योंकि अरब्स ने भी जो सारा अपना पैगाम था, जो मैसेज था, वो किंग जॉर्डन को दिया हुआ था। तो किंग जॉर्डन कोई सिर्फ एक इनफरादी मुलाकात नहीं करने जा रहे थे, बल्कि वो पूरे अरब्स की तरफ से एक नुमाइंदा बनकर ट्रंप के साथ एक हतमी मीटिंग करने जा रहे थे। तो जो चीजें वहां से सामने आई हैं उसका मतलब यह है कि ऑल आउट वॉर, कोई बातचीत तय ना हो सकी, और जो डिटेल्स वहां से सामने आ रही हैं उसका मतलब है कि ऑल आउट वॉर की तरफ हम जा चुके हैं। 48 घंटे पहले नाज़रीन हम इस जगह के ऊपर खड़े हुए थे कि जो दूसरा फेज है सीज फायर का वो होगा नहीं होगा, कितने कैदी छोड़े जाएंगे, ये इस तरह की डिस्कशन थी। लेकिन आप देखिए कितनी तेजी के साथ इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं कि 48 घंटे के बाद हम इस जगह के ऊपर खड़े हुए हैं कि अगले किस लम्हे गजा के ऊपर हमला हो जाएगा, अगले किस लम्हे एक जॉर्डन हमला कर देगा, मिस्र हमला कर देगा, पूरे खित्ते के अंदर जो जंग है वो शुरू हो जाएगी। यानी वो सीज फायर फेजेस, कितने कैदी, वो सब खत्म हो चुका है। अब हम उस जगह के ऊपर आ गए हैं कि किस वक्त जंग शुरू होने जा रही है। मुआहदा अमलन हर अंदाज में जो है वो खत्म हो चुका है। और ये बात नाज़रीन इस वक्त वाज़ेह हो चुकी है कि जो फ़लस्तीनी रियासत है वो हमेशा हमेशा के लिए बज़रिया मुज़ाकरात खत्म कर दी गई है। और वेस्ट बैंक और गजा यानी जिन इलाकों के ऊपर फ़लस्तीनी रियासत बनना थी उनको सरकारी तौर पर ऑफिशियली लेने का जो है वो ऐलान कर दिया गया है। तो अब ये सारा कुछ मैदान जंग के अंदर है। पहले क्या था कि अच्छा बैठेंगे, बात होगी, यूएन रेजोल्यूशंस हैं, हर मुल्क कह रहा था जी फ़लस्तीनी रियासत बननी चाहिए, नहीं वो नहीं। अब उन्होंने कहा कि फ़लस्तीनी रियासत हमेशा हमेशा के लिए हम माइनस कर रहे हैं। तो अब जो भी मामला है वो सारा बैटलफील्ड के अंदर है, मैदान जंग के अंदर है। अच्छा, किंग जॉर्डन को बिठाकर मीडिया के सामने,
and they allowed these beasts, these animals, to even they can come up to the Wailing Wall and there see what you people have done. Now, if you let this man, a man who is mentally deranged, a man who wants to buy Greenland, 800 years it has been with the Denmark, and now he wants. I think the Europeans, you are shameless. Why are you letting one of your European who is a part of the European Union and carries a European Union passport and this currency is euro, why are you letting the mentally deranged, a person to take over and he wants to forcibly occupy or buy the Greenland? So this is exactly what he wants to do with Gaza, and he wants to build his resort, his bloody Trump towers, and where he can dance and have naked women on the beaches. And that bloody man, you think the God Almighty is going to let him have, spoiled the Holy Land with his dirty, filthy ass, dirty, filthy, feet, and all that spokeswoman which he has, and she says, we are going to do this thing with amendment. Damn you, bloody little, bitch. You do it. You do it, and you see what's going to happen. The people, the Americans themselves in the White House is going to tear you apart. And yet every one of you who he has gathered, and they are all, the Jews or pre-Israelis, or, those who are supporting that and selling the income, all that income tax collected by the Americans, where includes Arabs, Muslims, Christians, who practice Torah, and Jews even, and the Christians. How the hell, how dare you send their money? And executive order after executive order, you damn coward. And you got a weakest man, most coward man, who was trembling, his eyes were trembling, and you made a scene of him to show him Arabs are not like that. You see what they do to you. You will remember pharaohs and look back. See how they enslaved them again, and how they killed all their men. And as the Pharaoh did, this is, let it be written, let it be done. Every male child born in the Jews must be killed. So you will see what will happen. So hide, Baron. Because you are calling for your own death. Go and commit suicide. Hang yourself in the room. Why, the 52 states? I think if the states has any sense, they will declare separation from them. And I think United Nations should first expel him as a USA, United States, no such thing as United States. California, Texas, even these two states make up the 90% of the total, money collected with which the government is running. The rest, all states are dependent on it. And any other state out of the 52 who wants to join, they should be admitted as full member of the United Nations. And this Trump and his little, tower over there in part of Florida, he should go and have his kingdom there like a madman. And he should snatch his face with his own fingers and his ass, he's everywhere, so that he can bleed from his nose, from his behind. And that is the punishment, and die like an animal. When he dies, again God Almighty gives him to live, and then dies again. Burn his skin once, the hellfire burns the skin, and he suffers the pain, then back again the skin. So it goes on till the end of times.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर